I'm Fairfax, one of the co-founders of Sipsmith, the first distillery making gin the traditional way in London since 1820. In around 2002, 2 or 3 little distilleries in New York State popped up, and this was the time when actually everything was about big and brash and big is better and globalization, and there was that real movement across the whole world for mega brands. And suddenly these tiny little distilleries hopping up and saying, well, hang on a sec, actually we think things made with love and care and by hand in small batches are really special. And we were really impressed by that, and we were really impressed by not only the products and the quality of the products, but also by the reaction of people to the products. So that was the catalyst moment for us, and we thought, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could do the same? Gin had its, I suppose you could call it, its heyday back in the 1700s, when it was all over England. 1 in 4 houses in certain areas of London had their own distillery, and it was almost epidemic, in the proportions of gin consumption. So the government cracked down on it and stopped people having their own distilleries. They put certain rules in place around the size of the still, the minimum size of the still you could have, the fact that you had to have a customs officer dedicated on site in the distillery, all of which essentially made actually having a distillery in the centre of London nigh on impossible. It's an incredibly slow, long, chipping away process where each time it has to be done in writing, addressing one individual point that then gets sent back with some challenges in writing. It's a period of weeks each time to address every single thing. So it's just a long, laborious process, but I think if we learnt anything, if you're really obsessed with an idea and convinced yourself that it will work, if you do just keep plugging on and keep going, eventually it will happen. For operational efficiency these days, because big companies are producing millions of litres a year, they make a super concentrated liquid that you then take anywhere from 25 to 50 times and blend that with neutral alcohol. It effectively stretches the end product, so one day's distillation goes 25 to 50 times further. What we're doing is we're putting the right amount of botanicals into the still for that one run. What comes off the still, married with heat with the copper in that one day, is our finished article that then just gets cut to bottle strength with water. So yes, it's more challenging to get it right, but I think that's also part of what we then effectively promoted as the value of it. So we have a batch sticker on every single bottle that reflects the day it was bottled, the batch it came from, and we celebrate the fact that they each have their own individual character within a broad frame of reference that is Sipsmith gin. More and more things seem to be made that are great for today, but won't last tomorrow, and were never intended to last tomorrow, whereas what we're trying to create here is not just a brand, but a liquid, but everything around it that actually says, no, we represent the days when things were actually made with the vision that they would last for hundreds of years. In the same way that we wouldn't compromise on the liquid by taking a concentrate and then stretching it with neutral alcohol to get more volume for efficiency purposes, nor would we compromise on anything. So this is actual real copper leaf, it's not just copper ink. Every bottle was individually sealed, dipping it in wax, which you can't mechanise. That has to be a person who actually puts the cork in, puts the test strip round, and then actually dips that in the wax. So as a result, almost became a barrier to entry to the really mega companies, because you would always look at it from a, well, what if I were producing 1 million bottles a year? Actually having copper foil on there is very expensive and would just make it not very viable in the long term. Well, we came at it from the perspective of, let's just make it absolutely as fantastic as we possibly can, and then worry about cost of goods down the line. When we started, we had a very limited, essentially, amount of money, and we decided to deliberately eschew, I suppose, the model of building a brand that existed at the time, which was traditionally spend your money on paying for advertising, maybe even paying for bar listings, build your brand in the on-trade, ignore the consumers for a while, get the trade behind it, and they'll promote it and help build it for you. We spent basically all of our money on the distillery, so that was our marketing vehicle. So from the get-go, we wanted to bring people in, both from the bar industry and also people pounding the streets of London, to see what we were doing and lift that veil on the mystery of distilling. And that was the most powerful thing for us. And then people started writing about that, so we got some, I guess, organic press as a result. Yeah, we really haven't gone particularly down the kind of demographic or customer kind of profile. It's more about a mindset that I suppose reflects our own mindsets and what we really love and appreciate. And that's the sense of loving things that are well made, and that goes hand in hand, I suppose, with what you might call discernment rather than necessarily status. We could be as big as we possibly could, and we could just have more stills and more people to run those stills. And essentially, we could grow without compromise. It would just be more expensive to do it than to grow with compromise. But what we've always passionately stood for is that if we're a handcrafted product and we need more stills and more hands, then that's the way forward. To actually move the needle for a mega company, you have to produce so much profit from the first day of, the first year of operation, that it's always going to look more attractive to the finance guys at the top of the organisation just to do a line extension, because it's lower risk. It's more guaranteed volume. It's a brand that people already know, and you're just producing something that goes hand in hand with that, rather than trying to create a new product from scratch. So I suspect that as a result, the big companies will effectively continue to grow their existing brands and then just acquire new ones as and when they hit scale. Really, number one, it's all about the team and it's all about the people. And we have always taken the perspective that it's more important to hire for raw talent and energy over experience, because they can learn what they're doing on the job, but you can't learn that kind of passion for something. Hand in hand with that, the second bit, we've always given people an incredibly long leash. They have an opportunity to go out, do things the way they want to do them, and if they succeed, great. If they fail, it doesn't matter, as long as they learn from that and they hopefully succeed the next time. And actually, we had a guy working for us over the summer as a summer intern. He came to us at the end of the summer with a really great idea for creating a network of brand ambassadors across the country, the universities. He presented to us at the end of the presentation. He said, "Yeah, great, you're hard, you got the job, go and make it happen." And I think people love that opportunity. It doesn't have to be signed off by loads of people. Third bit of advice I would say is constantly to keep pushing the boundaries, because that gives that creativity to the team and allows them to feel they're constantly moving forwards, and allows us as a company not to stagnate and keep us really ahead of the game. We're in just over 40 countries and really accelerating fast. When we first started, we used to say that if one of the big brands came in and turned on their stills on the 1st of January and at 9 in the morning, and they stopped for a coffee break at about 11 o'clock, they would have done our annual gin production. And I think now we've probably got to the point where if they come in the 1st of January and they work all day, they've done our annual gin production. So we've massively expanded, but we've still got an enormously long way to go, which is incredibly exciting.